Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to export Warcraft 3 models into Tabletop Simulator. I got a few requests to do this tutorial on my workshop page, and so I figured I'd give it a go. The process itself is relatively easy, though it's a little involved at times. Though once you get the hang of it, it should only take like 15-20 minutes tops to rip models from Warcraft 3 and put them into Tabletop. And the end result is you get this nice looking model here that you can use in your Tabletop custom games. Just a disclaimer about this method. This method does not export animations if that's what you're also looking for with Warcraft 3 models. You just get the model. And if that's not a problem, then this method will work fine with you for you. Though we will actually have some difficulties with certain Warcraft 3 models because of that, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit, along with some other little technical issues you get with exporting the models. And I'll explain myself when we get there. But other than that, it works pretty good for most Warcraft 3 models. You get nice little figures. Though I'll get into more detail on what I mean by what I've said in a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop right in. In order to do this, you're going to need some programs. You're going to need, if you want one, I'm going to close this window. You're going to need Blender 3D. You're going to need a copy of Warcraft 3. Oh, wow. Hold on. All my extra attempts there. You're going to need a copy of Warcraft 3. You're going to need to download Warcraft 3 Model Viewer. And you're going to need this program. It's a very basic program. It's called ModelCon. I found it on the Play Dota forums, and it converts MDX model files into OBJs. And of course, you need Tabletop Simulator. And so I'm going to link everything you need down below. I'm going to show you the sites here just now. First is Blender 3D. It's a 3D modeling software. It's free, 100%, and we're going to be using it to actually to touch the model up before we put it into. It's a lot of fun. I recommend you try it out outside of this. Next you're going to use Warcraft 3, which you get on battle.net if you don't have it, or you could probably find models that you're looking for in the Hive Workshop. And those actually might have animations, though I'm not sure actually how to import animations into Tabletop, so I actually don't know. Next, you're going to need Warcraft 3 Model Viewer. That's not Warcraft 3 Model Viewer. This is Warcraft 3 Model Viewer. You get it on the Hive Workshop forums. It's a download link. It's from 2007, but it works perfectly for what we need it for. And then you're going to go to this Play Dota forum post about converting models from MDX to Wavefront objects. It actually goes through the process on how to do it here too with the Warcraft 3 viewer. Actually, I'm going to go over this process as detailing and how to use this little program, because it does seem a little confusing at first, even though it's very simple. So once you download these, put these in a nice spot, and we're going to go work with them. I'm going to open up my folder where I have everything, and I'm going to start by opening up Warcraft 3 viewer. I'm going to open it up. Just a note: if you have Norden, it might delete Warcraft 3 viewer because it thinks it's like some sort of malicious program, and you just have to put the folder in the exemption list. So I'm going to open that, and you should get two windows popping up. You should get a little model view here and this thing called the tree view. What the tree view automatically has selected here is Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. If you want to use your Frozen Throne, if you want to get models from Frozen Throne, you're going to have to go into File, and you have to open MPQ, and you're going to have to find where your Frozen Warcraft 3 the Frozen Throne is saved, and choose that. MPQ archive from the list, and then you'll be able to access the Frozen Throne models. But for what we're using now, we're going to be working with just regular Reign of Chaos. So some notes. So I had some issues. Like I said, I can't export animations, which gives us some problems with some models. I can only export all the meshes at once, which makes it so we have to do some cleaning up to do with the models, which is part of the reason why we use Blender. And I can't actually export. I'm actually aware of a way to export textures with the team color, which means if you want to edit your textures to have colors on them, like you have, I'll show you. If I shouldn't have closed it. Like say this footman here, you'll have to go into like a separate like text editing software and paint it in yourself. And I'll show you how to do it later. I use GIMP for that, and I'll show you about that at the end of the video. That'll be a little bonus, in case you don't care. For most parts, the default gray color works fine, and for what we're going to use it today, it works fine. So I'm going to use the Acolyte because it gives you this nice, clean model. It looks very nice. There's no real issues with it. There's no like overlapping there's no overlapping parts or like 2D planes on it that you have to get rid of. You'll actually have to get rid of this thing up here. We're gonna have to get rid of this mesh, this little corpse thing. Like I said, it can't export only certain meshes. You can't tell it to export only certain meshes. So it means I can't just remove that and export this. I'm not currently aware how to do that. I've tried, I just couldn't figure it out. And it's not really a problem. You just go and delete it. It's very simple. This knife here will also give us a problem. And to show you what I mean, where it really gives you issues exporting meshes, we'll go down to the skeleton here. And you get to see this guy here. You get two separate dudes. One's banging out on the other one. You get two models that you could kind of work with, but you have to export them as a whole. And it really kind of gives you an issue when you're working with it. Oh, by the way, this thing down here doesn't get exported. That's just an axis. And where I was talking about animations, I'll show you what I mean. How being unable to export animations does give us a little problem. Is with like the unit like the Night Elf Archer here, where as you can see, well, one, you have this weird arrow thing sticking out in front of her, but two, you have her in the default pose here. And I've tried just setting her to like stand where everything's fine now, and exporting it like this, but it'll export her in that base just kind of flat shape. And so if I wanted to work with it, I would kind of have to move her arrow. I'd kind of have to twist her arm. It really isn't too much an issue, but you would have to go into like Blender and contort her arm so you twist it and the bow right. And you just get her looking like this really stiff looking model. But if that's all you're going for, then it'd be fine. So we're gonna work with the Acolyte because it's the easiest to work with, and I kind of want him. And so to export the model, we'll go up here and go extract this little folder looking button here and go and extract MDX file, and that will extract the actual model file. We'll have to export the model and the texture file separately, and so I'll show you to do that. So we export the model called acolyte.mdx, and we'll move it into if I can find where that's my desktop. That's my desktop. Model editing, model file, and we'll save it here. Extracted successfully, and then we're gonna export the texture, and that one will be, I think, just this one. Extract and convert textures used by MDX. Yes, that's what we want. So we want to go here, and we're just going to want the Acolyte one. The rest are just like this. The Acolyte will be the actual texture for the Acolyte. The other stuff we don't need. This texture Demon Rune is this thing up here. We don't need that. The Guts is that thing down there, and the Green Star. I'm not actually sure what that is, but we don't. I just know we don't need it. So we're gonna export it. We're gonna export it as a JPEG because it's the easiest to work with, and we're gonna knock up the compression up to 99. Exported, extraction done. So if I open the folder, I should see that I actually forgot to set where I wanted to export it to. So remember to do that. I exported it who knows where. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go select my folder I want to put it in. So I export it, extraction done, and then we're done with this. We don't need to work with this anymore. So this is model editing. Whoops, that's what I get for using shift as a push to talk key. So we'll go into here and I'll show you what I mean by it doesn't export colors. You see he was red in the thing. And this you see is actually the default gray. If you know how to do text colors with the textures, please leave a comment below. That'd be really helpful. On how to, that'd be really helpful. It'd save me a lot of time in this, and there's an easier way to color them in. Also the same with animations. Is more experienced. Please, that'd be very helpful and save. Well, I think that would save a lot of us a lot of time. And get around my idiocy with the software a little. And so, oh yeah, we have them. And from here, we have an MDX file. And we can't work with this in Blender. And that's where we need this program, the model converter, that will convert it from MDX to OBJ, Wavefront object. And so to do this, it's very simple, but it's a little bit confusing. What we're going to do is open up this program. We get this little command prompt window here. And we want to go to where the MDX file is stored, and we want to copy its file path. So we're going to go up here, click this, and I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go here to the command prompt, right click on the top, go to edit, and then hit paste. And then we're not done. We're going to go hit backslash. That's not backslash, that's forward. Yep, backslash, and then we're going to type in acolyte.mdx. I'm going to hit enter. And next, we just need to type in the name. So we're going to type in acolyte object, I'm going to call it. Acolyte, I'm going to call it acolyte object. And then you want to make sure you add the object file extension at the end, or else it won't work. So call it .obj. And we should see it. The converter file should appear in Warcraft in the model convert. So we see acolyte.obj. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to pop that in because I like everything in a nice organized spot. Then we're going to open up Blender. And I'm going to, while it's opening, alright, so now that we have Blender open, we're going to just go into here and we've got the default scene set up. We don't need this. We're just going to hit B for select. So press B for box select, and then drag that over your scene. Then hit X for delete. So now we got this nice empty scene. We can go into the top left here. We can go import Wavefront object, and we can go into our folder, wherever that is, and hit acolyte object, and we're going to import it. And we get it, and we'll notice right off the bat, this thing is huge, and we're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have to fix that plane over its head, right here, and the guts on the bottom, and that really ugly looking dagger. I'll fix that up. Just make sure to right up that you can rotate. Okay, good, because I've had issues with being able to rotate on Blender sometimes. So we're gonna we have it here. We're gonna type R for rotate. So we're gonna hit R on the keyboard, and then we're going to hit X to lock the rotation to the X-axis. And then we're going to type in -90 to rotate -90 degrees. And we'll see it's standing up right now, but he's huge. So we're going to have to scale him down. So tap the S key to scale, and just move your cursor towards the center. Just make a note. It's better safe than sorry. It's better to be safe than sorry with the size of your model, because the size of the model obviously will be reflected in Tabletop Simulator. So if you're concerned your model's too big, it's just make them smaller, because they can get pretty. You can scale them up pretty big, but you can't really scale them down that small, I found. So I'm gonna make them smaller. It's kind of tiny now, but hopefully he's a good size. Hopefully he's not ginormous. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just get rid of this. So we're gonna get rid of this all this extra excess stuff here. So I'm gonna hit Tab to go into edit mode. Make sure you select it and then hit Tab. Or you can go into the bottom left corner here and select edit mode from the drop down menu here, or drop up menu. And we're gonna change it. We're gonna go to this little bottom row here and hit the face select button. This allows us to select whole faces. And we're going to go up here and right click the top and then shift right click the second. We're going to shift right click both of these planes and I'll select them, and then we're going to hit X to delete them. And you want to go down the faces and I'll delete them. We're going to do the same for this little corpsey bit down here. So I'm going to rotate my screen, adjust so, and I'm going to hit bottom of box, select them. Hit X, delete. Oh, you can also turn off this little thing, and that allows you to select through face polygons or faces. So I'm going to do that. Delete faces. And then I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to scroll. So you're going to turn this to texture so I can see a little bit better. And I'm going to delete those faces. And so I'm not deleting this right away because I just kind of want to show you what it looks like and why we're going to get rid of it. Why we're going to get rid of the dagger. You can leave it if it doesn't bother you, but I'll just show you why I personally don't like it. So we're going to go into UV editing here. We're going to go to the drop down tab at the top. Select UV editing will give us this, split the view in half. So half will be the model, half will be this little texture thing, this little flat plane. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the right side of the screen and tap A. Now select everything in the about the model. And then you see this is reflected in the left hand side of the screen. You'll have all your faces and everything that the texture will map to. It's already set up, so we don't need to do anything with that. We need to go into where we keep the texture, go textures, see we have the Acolyte JPEG, and we're going to drag that in to the left hand side of the screen. And so we're just going to drag this over here, and look, we see it works perfectly. We're going to go here to next to the edit mode box, and we're going to select textured from solid. So we're going to select textured above solid. You see the map, the texture is mapped onto the Acolyte perfectly. You see it's the gray texture. He's got a little blue on. It's a little bit blue, his default texture, it seems. And he looks really good actually. See, the one issue I said with the dagger is you might find it looks fine. I'm gonna end up getting rid of it. But the thing is, since this is not like transparent, the background here, since it's not like a PNG, we can export as a PNG. It's not transparent, it's just black. I'm actually kind of curious if we converted this to a PNG, if it would work. You can try it. I'm just gonna get rid of it. But as you can see, it's got a little black background there. And if that's not a problem for you, then it's fine. But I like them just without the knife. Make sure I turn off that transparency there. It's selected, and I'm just delete it. And it's actually double layered. Delete both. And we get this nice looking model. And we're basically actually done. It's a nice size. We got the texture fits fine, and we're good to export. So make sure it's an object. Just make sure it's in object mode. You can save it if you want. I get kind of lazy. Actually, yeah, you should save it. I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to go right ahead and just export it. I'm going to export Wavefront object. I'm going to find where I like to keep all my files. Under document, under desktop, model ending, Warcraft 3 models. I want to save it as that. I'm going to save it as Eculate finished object. I'm just going to save Eculate finished .obj. And we're exported. So we're good. We got the model already. We're ready to import it to Tabletop Simulator, so we can close. Don't want to save, 'cause I don't care. And we'll have this right here, Eculate finish, and we're gonna need this one. We don't need the material thing here. We just need this. And so to put this in tabletop, we're gonna have to use Pastebin and Imager. You can also, or any kind of image hosting website. You can use Cube Upload if you want. It doesn't matter as long as you just have it on. You just have it like online somewhere. I'm gonna go to Pastebin, and we'll make a new note. And so what we do is I have to stop holding down Shift while I do that. Is we're gonna go into go to the file here. And we're gonna open the file with Notepad. So we get the object data all lined out here, and we're gonna highlight all of this. And we're gonna try not to delete it all. We're gonna highlight all of this and copy it. Copy. And we're gonna paste it into the new note here in Pastebin. As you see, we got it copied. And we're gonna name it Acolyte. I've already got it typed in there, I see. And then we're gonna have to do this thing. We're gonna do this CAPTCHA. So we got it here. So it's on Pastebin. That's good. Now we're gonna upload the texture. Well, this is in case my thing. I've had some issues with Imager lately when trying to put the image on the model. For some reason it won't. For some reason the image doesn't work. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. We might encounter it, and it might work for you, it might not, and so it's really up to your game to decide if it wants to work or not. If it does, the method is the same. It's just you might have to do some looking around to see how to get it to work. I'm gonna upload stuff, and I got my shitty Pokemon gifts there, and we got everything. I actually didn't even need to open up a new window. I'm gonna drag and drop this onto Imager. So I got it. There we go. And we're gonna want to go to the direct image. Open image new tab. Do that, and you just copy this URL. And that's tiny. Wow. Is this that tiny? Oh, I actually see what might be the problem with this image here. It's freaking tiny. Actually, yeah, I know. I think I realize why this doesn't work now. Why my Acolyte image doesn't work? Because for some reason it's super small. I'll figure that out at the end of the video, but we'll just get ahead with it. Now I know why it probably won't work. Okay, so we got the file here. So we got the Pastebin. You're gonna want to make sure you click on raw. You're gonna want to be linked to this because you're gonna need this URL when you're doing the image. I'm gonna close that. I don't need it. And we're gonna open up Tabletop Simulator. Go here, Tabletop Simulator. Open. I'll have it open in a little window. So we're gonna go into the single player. I'm just going into an empty felt table, and I'm gonna go to the chest. Once in the chest, I'm gonna go to custom model, and I'm gonna go. This is where we're gonna need the Pastebin URL and the Imager URL. So I'm going to do that right now. Go to the Pastebin here. You're gonna copy from the raw what you get when you click raw. And we're going to copy that and paste. And I'm going to try the Acolyte ones, but I have a feeling it's actually not going to work because the image is so tiny. But I'm going to try it, and I'm going to select the wood because I think that's the least shiny of the models. There's a little bit of shine to the models, like each type of model. So just hit wood and it's the least shiny. Okay, yeah, it gives me an issue when I import it. So I'm going to do a little cheating here because I'm not going to go through the motions. I'm about to look into the texture with this one. Maybe it's how I exported it. Maybe it's because I knocked up the JPEG compression. I'll go into that afterwards, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna cheat a little. Copy the URL for my footman here and put it on, map it onto my Acolyte. Voila, we got the little cheated. I don't remember the control. We got the little cheated model here. He's a Acolyte in footman's clothing. How do I scale down? As you can see here on the bottom, it's since it's a flat plane, you could see through his skirt. Scale them down. You can scale them down. You can make them huge. Looks really funny because obviously it's not supposed to look like that. Unless you want them to look like that. It actually kind of looks kind of cool. But yeah, so that's really the process. Thanks for watching. If you want to stick around to the latter half of this video, I'll show you. Actually, no, I'll cut it. Right now, I'm actually going to look at the. I'm just going to do something real quick with the image. That's just to fix it, and then I'll do editing the texture in another video because this will be kind of long if I do that. So I'm going to go here, open up Warcraft 3 viewer. I want to see what I did wrong. I'm going to close. Actually, I'm going to leave that open. I don't care. And I'm going to see if it's just the unit. I think it may just be the Acolyte. For some reason, it has an extremely small texture. Maybe if I try this twice. Do desktop, I don't care. That was the default one. The default setting, so I'm gonna see if it has anything to do with. Then we're set it down to 24 bits, I'm not sure. Okay, well we don't need that. So we got two files here. Get Acolyte, and we're gonna put Acolyte 2. Oh boy. Hold on. Damn it. Oh, it's over here. I wonder if they're just naturally tiny. It might just be naturally tiny. That might be an issue. We're gonna try this. I don't. No, this one will work fine. To go here, custom models. Oh shoot, we gotta get the paste menu. There we go. He's a little gray and gloomy, and he's a little shiny because I selected the. I think I selected plastic. But yeah, he works fine. So that's how you import custom models from Warcraft 3. Thanks for watching, and thanks for bearing with me at the end. After we overcame that little snafu with the texture, I had to export. I think this one was I had to export the 32-bit, the 24-bit model of the texture, and that worked fine. 32-bit one didn't work. I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't like that plastic. There we go. It looks a lot better now. He doesn't look super shiny. Toss him off there. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for watching. And if you want to check out how to edit the texture by hand, tune into the next video. Bye.